welcome to Smells Like Teen Angst. We are here to talk about Pretty Little Liars, Summer School, episode 4.
Woohoo!
Woohoo! And as always, I am here with Keiki and Jordan. Keiki and Jordan, say hello.
Hi.
Hello.
And before we get started, we just have a couple comments that we received last week that I want to talk about because we had a little trouble with this one too. And I went back and cleared it up. And this episode also clears it up. So Megan Elizabeth 2204 said, I need some clarification about Bloody Rose Waters. When we saw her last season, she was normal and in a home or something. When did A supposedly skin her face? Now the girls think she's living in a shack in the woods and killing people, but we, the audience, think it's someone else in a mask. I hope this makes sense. I'm so confused. Girl, we were too, because we remembered all the same things. And don't worry, this gets answered in this awesome episode.
It does. Yeah, no,
I think anything to add. Like, we were all like, wait, what?
I don't want to spoil the is it a spoiler? I don't want to get into it yet, but
yeah, we'll talk about it more. But like, we were in the same camp. The three of us were like, wait, I'm confused. Isn't she just normal? Wasn't she just this? Like we talked about having the upgrade, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm like, I'm glad it wasn't just us, which is why I wanted to read that. And I was like, thank you. We are not alone. And then someone gave us their favorite vampire movies. Darian Robinson, 5651. My favorite vampire movie at the moment is Abigail. Gotta love Melissa B. But on my top 3 are probably Let the Right One In, Dusk Till Dawn, and Fright Night. All childhood favorites.
Oh, those are all great.
I didn't like Let the Right One In.
I didn't either. I thought it was a little boring. I've only seen the American version, and I know that there's a foreign version. So I love Fright Night.
Well, that's why you didn't like it.
Fair. Okay. It's like Good Night Mommy. The American version's terrible, but watch the original one. Mm-hmm. I love Fright Night in all incarnations. The Colin Farrell one is great. The 80s one is great. And I've actually never seen From Dusk Till Dawn.
I have 2 notes right now. Speak No Evil is coming out, and that's with James McAvoy, and that's also a remake of another movie. And I really hope this one's good because I really like James McAvoy. And Sarah, we have to do that From Dusk Till Dawn party.
Okay. That's the one with like Selma Hayek, right? And she's like a stripper vampire or something, right? Right?
Yes, but like don't hinge on seeing a lot of Selma Hayek. It kind of, people saying it's a Selma Hayek movie kind of oversells it.
Fair. Okay. I think
it's Selma Hayek living her best Zendaya.
Wouldn't it be Zendaya living her best Selma? Because Zendaya wasn't even born when that movie came out, probably.
Oh, probably.
Like, it's one of those where they give her top billing and she's in it for about 7 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. Love that. It's very Drew Barrymore in Scream. Gotcha.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, cool. We'll add it to the list of things we need to watch together. Love it. So let's dive in to episode 204. Coming off of 3, like the ending with Mouse, like that episode was so good. I was like, how are they going to top it? And this episode is, I think, just as good. Like this show just keeps getting better and better and better with every episode.
I wholeheartedly agree. However, I was not as scared on this episode as I was from Mouse getting burnt alive.
Yes, absolutely. I was so much less stressed this episode that there was a moment where it felt quote unquote boring. And I was like, no, it's not boring. Your just heart isn't pounding. There's a difference.
Yeah. And in true Pretty Little Liars fashion, they use the end of the episode to kind of give us everything. So yeah, I was kind of just along for the ride for a really long time.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, we're going downhill. And then it finally was like, okay, never mind.
Well, this is the first episode where the girls were together a lot. So like, it would be like apart, together, apart, together, apart, together. So like my notes are kind of crazy. So just like go on the ride with me. So the episode opens with another Rose Waters reenactment, this time on Spooky Spaghetti. And then we jump right to the girls getting dinner and Mouse explaining what happened, that like Lola took her to the wrong place. She left her this note with the birthday cake. She got out, and obviously none of them are safe, and Bloody Rose Waters is coming for them because they are all what? Final girls. Which I love Tabitha being like, we're final girls. They're coming for all of us. It's so fun for me. I knew, and I love Faran's reaction in all of this. And this becomes Faran's episode, so we'll talk about her at the end. But she's like, I'm not running. I'm in the best shape of my life. I'm like, this is what Zarya was hinting at when we were talking to her on the red carpet.
Yes. And I really appreciate it. I like seeing how strong she is, because I feel like last season her character started off as like this delicate ballet dancer, and now she's like, no, we're not doing this. And yeah. I just really appreciate that both Faran and Tabitha are very true to their culture. I think a lot of times with multicultural casts, they get kind of colorblind in the writing, and they like forget that certain cultures react certain ways to things. And I love how like both times when they pull out the Ouija board, her and Tabitha are like, no, we're not doing that. We're not summoning somebody. Like, I'm not afraid of this ghost. I will beat this monster's ass. Like, it's very true to their culture, and I love that.
Yeah, I love it. They're like, we will not be the first ones killed. Just letting you know, we're breaking tropes. Imogen calls Dr. Sullivan immediately because we are going to schedule an emergency session. However, Dr. Sullivan has been in an accident and recovering in the hospital. So we're like, did she get burned, or is she a victim of Bloody Rose herself? Like, what happened? And we'll find out in a second. Oh, go ahead. You have a thought. I'm going to let you get it out so you don't forget it.
So remember last week when I was like, I don't think the doctor is a suspect? I have changed my mind.
I'm just saying, the doctor is so sus.
She was just too available this episode, and it started to be suspicious to me. Like, why is she just so available right now?
So available.
Why is she such a big plot piece?
She's in the hospital with a broken foot, and her son is Johnny. I guarantee it. Anyway, this is where I'm at. I think it's Johnny. I think it's the ice cream guy.
Oh, I didn't go there.
Okay, so jumping over to Mouse. Okay. Go ahead, Keiki.
No, because that's not the son from the last movie or the previous series.
We are having recasting. You think the son's older? I don't know. Tell me more.
Yeah, he would have to be older, right?
How old was he?
Because they were trying to give her...
I don't remember like the same age of the original series, like none of it. So
he was the same age as the girls, you're saying, Keiki?
Yeah.
Okay, so he would be like 40. Mid-30s, 40.
Yeah.
Because the girls are pretty little.
I mean, if Arya...
teenagers, early 20s. Well, Arya was in high school because she dated the teacher. So that much I know. That's all I know.
Yeah, like I don't know how old people are, but I know that like he'd be older. Like he'd be in college. Like,
so
not a high school.
Look up the first season of Pretty Liars, and we're gonna say they were 16. We're gonna do some math. When did Pretty Little Liars start? 2010. So we're talking
I'll do it.
Years ago. Right?
Yeah, they'd be 30. They'd be 30.
So they'd be 30. Yeah. 30s is where we're looking. Okay. So it's not, I mean, we don't know how old Johnny is. Hopefully he's not 30. Just kidding. So, okay.
No, Johnny's in his 30s.
Not him. I'll take it back. I take it back. It's not him. Okay. So jumping to Mouse and Ash are talking to Lola about like the phone call, right? Because her Lola like was like, oh, I got a call and I took you to the Rosie Ricottas. And she's like, yeah, she said her name was Rose and that she was calling from the other side. And now Mouse thinks that maybe their summoning worked, but I'm also over here going, Grandma, why are you listening to a ghost, first of all, and taking your child to an abandoned place? Your grandchild.
Because Grandma clearly has dementia and needs some help, okay? Leave Lola alone.
I'm just saying the math doesn't.
No, because Lola is like, why would they leave this kid with Lola? Because Lola is clearly off her fucking rocker, man. Like Lola's gonna get Mouse killed. But
here's the thing, though. Yes, I agree with you, but I don't think that her parents are aware that Lola's dementia is as bad as it is.
That's what I think. I don't think they realize it either, or that she even has it to begin.
Yeah, I think they're gonna come home and be like shocked.
My grandmother, who had dementia, hid it for a really long time. She hid it as long as she could. And then like something happened where she couldn't hide it anymore. And then she was like very open. So.
Oh, I've told you guys about this personally. Like my grandmother also had it. And if she knew that the stakes were high, she could click back in. Mm-hmm. Like we were trying to get her tested for dementia. She was a nurse. She recognized the test questions and she clicked back in like it was just a regular day. And the second that social worker left, she was gone again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
living that experience.
Yeah. I'm just like, Lola, Things are wrong. Don't let her do anything in this house. I need Mouse to like cut her off from all things. But we'll see.
And I want them to lock the kitchen, please and thank you.
Please and thank you. Oh my God. So Mouse then relays all this information to the girls and then is feeling extra guilty because she confesses that while the trial was happening, Mouse went on Spooky Spaghetti, spilling the tea. It's like describing Archie's mask for everyone. Like, and no one knew what this looked like. Only they did. And I'm like, Mouse, what are you thinking? But also, no, this isn't all your fault. There are just crazy people that this would have been happening anyway, in my opinion. But she's like, this is how the legend, right? The urban legend of Archie and Bloody Rose was created, was through her posting that. And it just like took on a life of its own.
Yeah, it's also like, if you're into like spooky stuff in general, I feel like this would kind of be like one of the last things to deter you from speaking about it, because it's just like someone who's crazy. Mm-hmm. And that's probably where Mouse was coming from, but also irresponsible girl.
So irresponsible. So irresponsible. But this does confirm for them and for the audience that it is not Rose Waters under the bandages. I mean, it could be the real one, but that's not what she looks like, right? That is a mask. It's part of this urban legend that's going around. And now they're all about tracking down the real Rose Waters to figure out who she is, if she's under the mask, and where she's living and blah, 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 blah. And so, of course, Mouse is like, I'm going to use Spooky Spaghetti to get people to help us. That is actually a very good idea. But let's talk about Imogen first. Imogen sneaks into the hospital to talk to Dr. Sullivan. Go ahead. We got a finger.
On my birthday, you guys. I just want to point out this episode happens on Sunday, June 8th, which is my birthday. Also, it makes this year completely anachronistic because my birthday has not been on a Sunday for several years, and it won't be on a Sunday again for like another 2 years. So I don't know what year this show is supposed to take place.
It's modern. It's like Riverdale, right? It's like modern. Yeah. Piece. Like, they have the internet and iPhones, but it's also 1950 with their ice cream shoppies and their tiny movie theater.
Yeah, and how they like aim each other online and just things that don't really exist.
Yeah, it's just a fun mishmash of all eras. I feel, or not all, but so we learned Dr. Sullivan has a broken ankle. She's trying to figure out why Imogen wanted the emergency meeting, and she's just like brushing it off. And so Imogen is now hanging out with her, trying to talk to her, trying to like protect her. Maybe she thinks if she's there, nothing else bad will happen to her. And then when she's talking to Dr. Sullivan, and she's like, hey, is there anyone that I can call? Like anyone that could help you? And she's like, no, there's no one. So she literally lies about having a son. And that is weird to me. And is this what put your flag off, Jordan, her lying about her son?
She lied about her son, and is she like, it's just very odd for her to let Imogen stay in her hospital room. Like, I feel like this is absolute, like, I was in therapy, and when I like graduated out of therapy and me and my therapist were like, hey, like, we've done all the work together that we need to, like, you're no longer crushes, blah, blah, blah. I was like, I'm going to miss talking to you. Like, can we hang out? And my therapist told me, actually, no, like, that's not a thing. And she was like, at least you have to be out of my treatment for 2 years, and then maybe it will be less of a conflict. But it's a conflict, and it will be for about 2 years.
Wow.
So I just feel like it's really weird that her therapist isn't like ringing the bell for a nurse and being like, get this girl out of my room. This is a conflict. Yeah.
She's like, how'd you get it? She's like, I said I was your daughter. Like, isn't that something you'd mark on a paper? Like, how does this work? I don't know.
Yeah. And I feel like she might just be like laundry listing the crazy, and protecting her own space and sanity, because again, she thinks it could have been a patient who pushed her. And she didn't see them. What if it was Imogen? She's just trying to like possibly keep
Imogen,
her distance.
What if it was Imogen who pushed her? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. You never know.
In one of Imogen's
your enemies close.
Nightmares? Maybe it was Lola. Lola in one of her dementia walks. Because Bloody Rose Waters told her to push the doctor down the stairs. I don't know. I'm just saying. No? Oh, I thought you had a thought.
You're saying.
You what?
No.
Okay. So then the next big part of her storyline this episode happens. Like Imogen gets a call from Estelle's dad, and Estelle is her daughter, which I thought was kind of weird, and asks her to babysit because it's an emergency to go out of town. And she's like, I thought you didn't want me around. He's like, well, we wanted someone we could trust. And this, well, I understand the like overbearingness of this dad. He's like, this strange girl's in the house. We don't want her to kidnap the baby. We're watching every camera, paying attention to every alert. So like they get the alert that the window is open. And of course, Imogen with her wicked anxiety spirals, right? But before checking on the baby, she goes to like, get a knife. And then she calls Johnny to come and spend time with her so she's not alone. So then Imogen is the image of Imogen carrying her child with this giant butcher knife coming down the stairs, and then Johnny opening the door the most creepy way possible. He is lucky he didn't get shanked, but he is so kind and so nice in this, like, which is why now I think he is a bad guy. I'm like, no one can be nice. No one can be this nice. Like,
I really respected his approach. Like, you look like a mom who needs a break. Like, you're about to spiral, right? Can I have the knife?
I don't think he's a bad
Can I
guy,
have the baby?
I do think I think he's gonna get killed because he was just too nice. He handled everything way too well. He helps her with the baby and the knife. When the dad calls back and is like, why is there some guy there? He's like, oh, I'll go outside so you don't get in trouble, but I'll stay overnight. And he actually stays the whole night. Imogen clearly develops feelings for him. So like, he's gonna die.
Yeah, 100%. I was like, he's either bad guy or he's not making it. Like, this is it. Bloody Rose is gonna take him out. And this is like everyone's okay.
Sorry. I think of, how we have how all the girls have their guy and the original Pretty Little Liars. So I'm hoping that he's just the next in the collection,
Yeah.
Where it's not like a weird teacher or odd conflict of interest.
Right. He is age appropriate, kind, which is what she needs, and adorable. This is everyone's makeout episode. So I love that he stayed in the car and slept there. And she's like, you actually did that? And then they make out in the car. I was very like girly on that one. I was like, yay. Noah is next on my list. Someone keeps calling her job and hanging up if she's not the one answering it. So of course she's panicking, and Jen is like, let's leave early. And they drive out to Jen's father's giant house because apparently Jen comes from money and this is an estranged parent. I know, Jordan. And then the Veronica starts playing and it gets real gay, and I love it.
They did choose the gayest song possible for this montage, except for like it could have been gay if they'd played Tattoo, and that's it.
Yeah. Right, that would be the next level. Because like the montage is cute. It's them drinking and playing dress up and obviously like flirting with each other. And like Jen opens up a little bit about how her dad left her and her mom and leaves them with nothing. And Noah suggests stealing one of his Rolexes, which is the worst idea possible because why, Keiki?
They're registered. They have serial numbers. You can't just pawn them. Like, that's so stupid.
Yeah. So of course, Noah gets the call from Jen. She's been arrested for stealing the watch and probably trying to pawn the watch. And Noah is now like the worst human being to me a little bit. She gets Sean to pay the $2,000 to get Jen out of jail for her bail, and then goes to like talk to Jen, and they make out. She got her boyfriend to pay for her other woman to get out of prison. It upset me a lot.
I don't know.
Y'all know what I'm going to say. What am I going to say?
Okay.
Polyamory would solve everything.
I just don't think Sean's a polyamory guy.
I'm just like, she needs adult supervision because she is acting a fool. Like,
yeah, she
girl.
Really is, no.
Oh my God.
I don't believe that's her father's house. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't believe No, I don't believe it's her dad's house. I think it's a random house.
Oh, that would be real ballsy if they did that. It was like a random person's house that they broke into.
I don't think her bail would have been so low if it was a random person's house.
And like no actual charges.
Touché.
That's fair. And no actual charges, just like breaking in or not pressing charges. I hear you. I'm with you. I'm on the yes. So Noah's on my shit list right now. Next is Tabby, my little Tabitha. So she gets a call from Pith, the horror festival that turned down her movie. However, and also I love how she answered the phone. She's of course thinking it's Bloody Rose. I thought that was really funny. Someone has backed out of the festival. And so they're asking if she has anything recent that, like, since they turned down her first movie, do you have another movie? And like, we can see that and hopefully put you in. And of course she says yes. And now she's got like 48 hours to film this. And I loved this entire scene of filming the movie, The Projectionist. It's her Jaws in the theater, right? Because it reminds me of when I used to shoot films like this with my friends. Like you make up your own dollies, you figure out your own angles, you get the most creative lighting and costumes. And like we used to shoot reality shows, like, with like confessionals and stuff. So I just thought that was so fun to see them all come together and film this movie.
Yeah. My favorite fake dolly was always the guy on a skateboard. Like that's
yeah. That's what I was gonna say. I was like, I love that the dolly was like on a skateboard because I totally did that too in my film classes. And there was an actual competition where you had like 48 hours to like write, shoot, edit, and submit something like a short. So I was like, it can be done. I did that competition with like 5 friends. It sucked, but you can do it.
Get it done.
It's the worst 2 days of your life, but you look back on it fondly.
Absolutely. Because it's so fun. It's just like a whole different game, And then Tabitha is also, while filming this, kind of going through her own personal crisis a little bit because this movie is something she brainstormed with Chip. So while filming it, she is thinking about him and all the things that they were supposed to do together if he wasn't a monster and not dead, And I love when she tells this information to Christian. Got his name right this time, guys. Thank you. And he's like, you owe him nothing. Like, you're incredible on your own. You owe Chip nothing. And now she's like making out with Christian and sends her movie off to Pith. The girls are
I liked it. I like Christian a lot, which again, either he's a bad guy or he's going to die.
Yeah. I'm telling you, I am adamant that his parents being visual artists are the one filming the spooky spaghetti reenactments. This is what I think. I will die on this hill until I'm proven otherwise. There's some people online that agree with me. I'm here for it. They're on TikTok and Twitter. So jumping over to Kelly, she is rehearsing her teen pregnancy scene for Redemption House. However, she rewrote it and Pastor Malachi is upset. So she's like, is trying to be strong and share that she has doubts about what they're doing because they are literally going to make people upset. It's kind of telling the stories of people in the town. And he's like, I don't care what we're doing. You need to confess and you need to have penance. And so when she goes to confession, she sees her mama and Pastor Malachi about to get busy in the confessional.
Okay, when that room is so small, like how even? But also to like pot, kettle, excuse me, mama. Like
I have a little bit of like decency and respect because even like as a non-religious person, I'm like, that is sacrilege, y'all. Don't do that.
But I feel like it also points out the hypocrisy in a lot of churches and religions because it is filled with it, right? So it's a big call out to that, and I love it. And then she gets mad, and so she sends a revenge text to Greg and says, let's go skinny dipping, which I think is so funny. And they interrupt Faran, thank you. Faran and Henry. And then like Kelly tells her like, hey, yeah, he's been doing really good in our group. He's been talking about your relationship and how upset he's been with you for lying to him. And she's like, I understand why Faran's upset. I would be too. Because you're telling this to a group of strangers, but you're not talking to me.
Yeah, but also I'm like, there's no way that in these couple of months that Kelly has become super religious, that she's so dense that she wouldn't know that she's starting shit by bringing this up. Like,
oh yeah, she knows she's starting shit.
Absolutely. And then Kelly's story turns very Carrie, right? She gets home after skinny dipping to her mom sitting in the dark, telling her you're impure and a sinner. And then it pans out to the outside of her house. You just hear Kelly screaming, no. And I'm like, oh, Carrie's mama. And then she wakes up on the floor and there's like a shrine above her, which I was like, oh, what is that? Why is this there?
Like the prayer closet in Carrie, remember?
Yeah. No, I know, but I'm just like, oh, it's creepy because it's like her mom and Kelly and like their dad's face scratched out. I'm just like, okay. And then she walks into the dining room and sees her mom sitting there with food, acting like nothing happened and nothing is wrong. And it's like, you just need to be strong for each other and for the souls of this town, which also continues to make me think that possibly Kelly's mom is Bloody Rose or one of them, if we have more than one.
She could definitely be involved because there's something going on there besides the cult.
Yeah. Like it's like her and Pastor Malachi, right? Like that's, I don't know. Because he's a tall, skinny man. Bloody Rose is like a tall, skinny person.
I don't know how that connects, but again, everyone's still a suspect right now. So sure, why not?
Well, it's because like what it seems like from that conversation with Kelly not being comfortable with what they're doing at Redemption House is that they're literally trying to cleanse the sins of those girls, right? The pregnant girl, the raped girl, like all those things. And so it could be their way of taking them out to cleanse the town. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
I don't know.
I can see that. But also.
You're like, but also no.
Well, I'm like, that also means that they killed the slutty girl in the beginning.
Everybody's a suspect, okay?
Yeah.
I know. Okay. So let's talk about Faran, who this was a big focus until the very end. So she's had such a good arc. Henry shows up to the pool to apologize with flowers, which I'll accept that he is taking accountability for being a bad boyfriend, as we know how I feel about him. He also tells her he signed up for swim lessons, which I think is a very also cute gesture. And then she gets super flirty and she's like, but I'll teach you. Why not? And then get that like Kelly interrupts him at the pool. And I just loved how they're like, yeah, it's fine. And then they both roll their eyes and like fall into the water. I thought that was a very cute like boyfriend girlfriend cutaway to do. And so let me jump ahead because we already talked about the what do they call it? The group share, the Kyra sessions, the trauma bonding. I was like, that's okay. That's terrifying. And so then the next day at the pool, the mother of the child that Faran saved, because if you remember last episode, the boy fell asleep, or not fell asleep. He wasn't in the chair. He wasn't paying attention and kid almost drowned at the pool. And Faran had to jump in and she fired him. And so the mom comes back to thank her and she tells her like what a strong person she is. And thank you for not being a person who stands on the sidelines and runs away from danger. She ran straight for it. And if it wasn't for her, her daughter wouldn't be here or her child wouldn't be here. And then that is followed up by a call from Bloody Rose Waters, time for her test. And Faran is pumped. She's more hyped than ever. And so she gets the instructions of where to go. She grabs an X-Acto knife and heads out.
That part made me so upset. A box cutter, Faran, a box cutter. You're going to face up against a serial killer with a box cutter.
It's not even an inch or 3-inch box cutter either. It's literally just like a little beep.
Like, the box cutter I keep at my desk at work to open up packages is bigger than that one.
Yeah, same. The box cutter that I have at the house is bigger than that. I was
Don't
like,
show it, we'll get flagged.
I was like, you can't do shit with that.
Girl, what you gonna defend with that?
She's gonna slice, it'll just slice enough. It'll get a vein. She'd have been
better off with a steak knife.
Yeah.
Also, I've been told so many times, like from self-defense classes, that like knives aren't great because you have to get too close to the person
you have to be too close to them.
Yeah, it's better to just run and zigzag.
Yeah. It's exactly like you're getting chased by an alligator. Serpentine. So when Faran arrives at the industrial yard, I don't know. There's a dummy that I thought looked like Henry with a rose crown wrapped in barbed wire and a note that has her name on it. And it says, a final girl can never lose her strength. Lift the girder. If it touches the ground before the time runs out, someone you love dies. So I looked this up because I didn't know. And a girder is 59 pounds per linear foot. and a basic girder is roughly 5 feet. So she's looking at holding over 300 pounds for 2 hours. She has to do this for 2 hours. And she like sets her phone down. She's like ready. She gets under it like a bodybuilder, ready to freaking rumble. And I was like, okay, girl. I would have been like, no.
Yeah.
Like I could hold
2 hours.
Tree fitting.
Yeah. I was like, that's ridiculous. So while she's doing that, Mouse is getting a ton of information from Spooky Spaghetti regarding the real Rose Waters. And so she enlists Ash to like help her check out all these places. And then they do the ultimate thing that you're not supposed to do in horror movies and television shows, which is split up at the train yard. And I said, dum, 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 dum. This is a dum, dum, dum. And then Mouse calls Imogen, letting her know that, like, I think I found her, right? We've gone to the unhoused encampment. She's living under a bridge in Tent City. Ash is not with her because they didn't get back together after splitting up. And I'm upset. And Imogen gets all the girls.
Ash.
Didn't even call him. Call him. Sorry. I'm like, ma'am, this man is so good to you. And you just left him at the train yard. Sorry. I love him.
No, it's very true. I'm like over here like, okay, Ash is kidnapped now. Like,
yeah, there's no way, right? So like,
right. If something happens to Ash, I'm gonna riot.
Riot in the streets. Gonna be super upset. So I loved how they did this. While the girls are looking for Rose, they split screen it with them and Faran, so you can see the Faran struggle and what she's going through during this while they're trying to find Rose. And I thought that was a really smart device so that we don't just forget about her. And it's like it makes it so it still matters and is intense.
Mm-hmm. And it was also filmed so well. She looks so buff. She looks so good during this scene.
Daria, looking great.
Very strong.
Proud. Very strong. And so when they talk to one of the unhoused men, he's like, oh yeah, I know her. She's over there. She's under the bridge. And when they go down there, they see her. And it's the same person that Imogen saw when she was, feeding the homeless. And it's very obvious that this Rose is very, very unwell. And when they're talking to her, they tell her that Archie came after them. And she seemed really surprised that Archie was still alive. And she panics, runs, and tries to unalive herself by jumping off a bridge. I don't know if she is. We didn't see a body.
Yeah.
But her instinct was we didn't see a body. But her instinct was to run and die. And I think that says a lot.
Yeah.
I was like, man.
And I do like she needed to be in a cage for a reason.
Yeah. And I do like that the girls, this wasn't it, right? They didn't give up. They're like, we have to go back to her tent and find something, because without it, this was for nothing. We have to prove that this isn't her, that we're not crazy. And so they finally find like a photo of Angela, which proves that this is Rose Waters. And then they find her file from Radley, which is also the asylum from the original series Keiki told me when we were watching it. Mm-hmm. And this is the big bum, bum, bum moment, right? That Rose Waters' therapist while at Radley was Dr. Sullivan, the girl's therapist. So she is fully entwined in all of this and keeping secrets from the girls, which maybe patient-doctor confidentiality. I don't know, maybe conflict of interest, Dr. Sullivan.
I feel like on the one hand, yes, she would not tell the girls because that does violate several laws. That being said, I feel like when the girls' file came across her desk, she should have been like, can't take this one. Somebody else got it.
Right?
Yeah. Is she like the only therapist in like a 50-mile radius? Like, someone clue me in, because that seems like a national problem, we should be working on it.
It was very convenient that she still had her file, because one of the struggles of unhoused people is like keeping documentation, just because you are so unstable and moving around so much.
And they
so the fact that she had her
time and just throw your stuff away.
Yeah, the fact that she had her fully intact file from Radley.
Crazy. Look, we're just going with it because it's a TV show and it's to move the plot along. Okay.
Pushing it, TV. You're pushing it.
So that was their big moment. And then we cut back to Faran, and Faran did it, dude. She held this girder for 2 hours and she's like, I'm celebrating, right? But she can barely walk. She can barely move her legs, understandably, because she was holding that split squat for a hot second. And then she grabs her phone, and then Bloody Rose Waters comes out from behind the tarp and comes to attack her. Like, what a bitch move, because you're going to wait until she is broken, can barely move and is weak to come for her. I think
Listen,
that
Bloody Rose, you lost fair and square. She passed your test. Let it go. You got beat.
I know.
You got beat. Just like Mouse beat your shit. Like, it's fine.
Yeah, but as we have learned from the Mouse situation, Bloody Rose is a terrible loser. She's like, oh, great, I can't find you. You're actually hiding in this mouse trap. I'm just going to burn the whole fucking place down. Oh,
true.
Oh, you actually held it for 2 hours? Well, I'm just going to stab you now because you're weak. Like,
but Bloody Rose Waters does not account for adrenaline, because Faran gets a second wind. Adrenaline kicks in. Her flight or fight instinct happens, and she grabs a rock, hits her in the head, gets a little sliced on the arm, runs over to a fence, somehow manages to get over it without getting caught, and they just have a stare off. And that's how the episode
ends. One of my like number one icks is, like, you know how people can't watch that scene where she like breaks his legs in misery because like it really gives them the ick. Like, one of my number one icks is barbed wire. Like, I can't look at things that. So when she was climbing that, I had a rough time.
Yeah, I was like, really concerned. I was like, she's going to cut herself on this barbed wire, but she managed to get away. Like,
yeah, barely.
For me, it's the Achilles cut.
Oh, 100%. That's my biggest one.
Like, that 100%. That one takes my whole
body.
Like
in Chucky.
Yeah.
Or in Pet Cemetery.
Honestly,
when Gabe
anything with
him.
feet.
Oh, I can't.
Because I also hate that part in Kill Bill with Go-Go and she on the guy's foot. No, get out of here. Don't do it.
Oh.
And it's like fingernails. It's all the little stuff, right? Like,
yeah.
Nails through the hand. Like, nails in the foot. Oh, yeah. So we got a lot of information. Oh, go ahead, Keiki.
I was just saying, I don't like it. I don't like it.
I don't like it. So we got a lot of, well, this episode, I agree, was slower. We got a lot of information, right? We got the confirmation of Rose, whatever Rose jumping off that bridge. We've got whoever the next girl is going to be tested. That I don't know. I don't have any ideas because I didn't see it being Faran, because we're not going in the Rose order either, because otherwise Imogen would have been first. So I don't know.
I want it to be Noah, just because I want her to have to face how bad she's being.
Yes. Yes. And and each test has to do with them. I love, like, the mouse is like, the mouse trap is a play on her name. Faran is very strong, so she was testing her strength. So I'm like, what is it going to be? Trivia for Tabitha? You know, like movie trivia. I don't know. We already saw Noah jump across a building, so I don't know what this could be. Which is still one of the best moments of last season. But yeah, I enjoyed this episode. I agree. I don't think it's as good as last week's episode, but it's not a bad episode.
No. I think last week's episode really had to raise this, like, it. Not only were we introducing our supporting cast, but we were also raising the stakes and letting people know, like, we're back, bitches. It's for real.
Yeah. 100%.
We're in it.
We've got all our bloody.
And it's not the same big bad. Someone is going to kill someone. Like, it ain't over yet.
And Archie is not dead yet. So he is, in prison somewhere. And the last time he escaped was, someone corrected us because we were wrong, from the hospital, not from jail. So, like,
I'm having a moment of like Halloween and Dr. Loomis, and now I really think that Dr. Sullivan is involved. Okay, goodbye.
Do we have a Joker Harley Quinn situation going on? Is she weirdly in love with Archie? Like, I don't know. I have so many questions. Okay. That's all I got. That's all I got, guys. You got anything else?
No, this was an interesting one. I'm
kind of sad we didn't get a Tabitha question. That's
I know we didn't. Christian didn't ask her anything. He just told her she was amazing, and then they made out. Maybe next week. Should we make up a question? Who do we think is next on the trials, on the Bloody Rose Waters trials? That'll be our question for people this week.
Particularly, I hope
Noah.
But I think it's going to be Tabitha.
I love that we're all rooting for Noah to get her comeuppance right now. Justice for Sean. He's like such a fine boyfriend. He's whatever. He's around, but like that's dirty. She did him so dirty. Here, pay for my girlfriend to get out of jail, please. Yeah. Voting for Noah. Voting for Noah. We're monsters. Awesome. All right. Well, everyone, thank you so much for watching. We appreciate that you guys came back to us. We've had so many comments of people being excited that we're back. We're excited to be back, and we're just glad that you guys like what we do. So make sure you like, comment, subscribe, send it to your friends. Join us every Thursday to discuss the craziness that is Pretty Little Liars Summer School. And we'll see you next time. Bye.
Later.